Everyone, we are here with the director of photography for the new film, The Moogai, Sean Ryan. Sean, how are you?
I'm good. I'm really good. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
And congratulations on the screening at Sundance. That's pretty amazing
Yeah.
in the midnight section.
Yeah, thank you. During the production of the film, we had very optimistically, set our sights on this festival as a perfect launching platform for the film. So yeah, it was a bit of a dream come true to get to share it with audiences in Park City.
That's wonderful. Now, uh, I'm so sorry I didn't get to run into you during the festival. Now you're back in Australia. I'm in
Mm.
California. But I've heard great things about the film. Um, Brian Finelli, one of our other critics, reviewed it. Can you give us kind of a breakdown of what the film is about?
The film is about a young family who bring their second child home from the hospital after giving birth. Um, uh, as kind of dad starts to go back to work, the mum Sarah starts to experience these sort of strange events or happenings, and she kind of you know whittles it down to lack of sleep, and is encouraged by her husband that she'll be all right. This is nothing to be worried about, and as her concerns grow, um, as do kind of his and other people's concerns around her escalate as well. Um, and after kind of not believing her for some time, he eventually realizes that they really are under threat, and that there's a spirit or a presence that's after their children. And then it's up to Sarah and the family to kind of embrace where they've come from and their heritage, to help rid them of this presence that's coming after their children.
Awesome. Now,
Mm,
this was this film was based on a short that was done in
mm,
2020, and you were also DP for that one.
mm,
So let's talk about basically how you built the look and the feel of uh this world that this creature,
mm.
lives in.
I guess, John and I wanted to, I don't know, we wanted something that felt very, cinematic, and that had kind of, a sense of scale and scope to it, sort of with the short and with the feature. The film, starts quite intimately and then grows. So that kind of led us to, wanting to shoot for a 2:3:9, aspect ratio. And then I guess, it is a very, or again, both the short and feature start off, quite domestically. It's a portrait of life, postnatally, for this young family. And so, we wanted to find a way to capture that and be, sort of objective with these events. Let them play out, and let the audience go on that kind of journey with Sarah as to trying to decipher what's real and what's not. So, being kind of selective when we kind of chose our cinematic devices, and not trying to ham things up too much. Let them play and let that kind of undertone and that kind of slow burn sort of build as the tension sort of rises,
Mhm.
with these characters. So,
You talk about using cinematic tools or
mm,
gimmicks, if you will. Uh,
mm,
but you're also talking about allowing the audience to kind of have a subjective
mm,
approach to it.
mm,
What types of shots did you use? Did you mix them with stage shots
mm,
or their POV shots? Uh,
mm.
what how did
Yeah,
you do that?
I guess, we were always, trying to be suggestive, of a presence of something that's not there.
Okay.
And it was interesting to look at other films that have done that, and done that quite well, like The Invisible Man, not too long ago. And so,
The recent Invisible Man.
yes, the recent iteration.
Yeah.
Um, and so, yeah, there was moments where we wanted to withhold information as well, and experience an event through Sarah's eyes. If she's just trying to
Gotcha.
peer around the corner, or feel the camera kind of leaning with her, and
Mm.
where her younger 5-year-old daughter might be speaking to someone around the corner that we can't see, and kind of leaning into what's withheld, and also experiencing Sarah's reality with her, not
Right.
showing the audience things that she isn't experiencing herself or can't see herself.
Right.
um but then the camera language evolved as the film progresses. It's quite considered um in the heart of the film, in the house, but then as we break out, the film kind of takes on a new life, and takes on these adventure, runaway kind of elements, where we started to move the camera very differently. Some handheld chase sequences, some more steady cam work as we're traveling with the family on the move. And then not to give too much away, but another kind of, we return to a particular technique every time we wanted to show the kind of perspective of this creature, as its sight and what it can see and can't see, is very important in the storytelling of this film,
Right.
and the way that the family eventually get the upper hand.
I love speaking with cinematographers, directors of photography, because this is a job that is so important. It
Mm,
to the interpretation of the film, to the feel of the film, and you know, uh, these techniques are things that people just ingest. They
mm,
don't know how they're conceived and used, or
mm,
they don't often think about how they're conceived and used.
mm,
Um, and it's just a very interesting thing to me. You do mention a creature. It's not a spoiler that there is a creature in the film.
mm.
Um, and you kind of joined the ranks of movies like everyone's gonna compare it to the Bad Book, but
Yeah.
then any other creature film, Jaws or whatever.
Mm.
There's those POV shots. Um, what what were the characteristics that the Moogai had uh that you could kind of tell they were around, or you were
Mm.
through their eyes?
I guess, you know, John would talk about this creature as being quite cunning
Mm,
and quite deceptive. And, you know, it approaches, the children, or the youth, with a very welcoming, presence. And, until it shows its true intentions. And so I think that was part of its presence, throughout the film, and its interaction with, these characters, or the tricks that it would play on Sarah. That is the scary part for me, is watching, her youngest daughter, become comfortable in the presence of that creature, and willingly want to leave her, to
mm,
to go away with this creature. And so, um, that, when its intentions were hidden, that was quite scary. But then when the intentions are made very clear towards the end of the film, there's no hiding behind the face anymore. And there's this battle, I guess, over, to the end. And that again was a whole nother kind of evolution of the film and this yeah, this battle between kind of the mother and the love between this family and the I guess the evil within this creature, and yeah, just to see who would prevail, at the end.
Um, as I mentioned before, you worked on the short and you worked on
Mm.
the feature. Were there any differences in how you approached the project, or was it just a bigger canvas?
It was it was a bigger canvas. I think the short really we took the DNA, and the tone that we'd created there, and that really slotted really well into the heart of the feature. There's some small sequences there that are almost shot for shot. And it was quite nice sitting down with John, reading when that scene sort of reappears in the feature and looking at how we'd approach that again and tweaking based on the new locations, but going, what, I think how we did it before is our film, and not trying to fix it if it wasn't broken. So
Mm,
it was nice to kind of revisit some sequences, kind of again in that sort of heart, but as the film has quite a different ending to the short, it kind of broke out of the family's house and yeah, introduced a lot more elements that we didn't see in the short. So it was nice to kind of, pick up where we left off, but take it somewhere new, as well.
excellent. Do you have any influences, visual influences or anything like that personally in your work or in particular for this film, The Moogai?
I think, looking at the Moogai, Denis Villeneuve is, I think, has a great handle on, suspense. And there's a great moment in Prisoners where there's a shot that just pushes right into a tree.
Mhm.
And in a sense, that's when the young girls go missing, and there is this threat, amongst, the neighborhood, but it is unnamed, it's unknown, and the 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 tragedy or the it's just the beginning of something, and we're not sure where it's really going. And I think trying to kind of capture some of that essence and bring that into, the first half of our film was something I kind of spoke to John a fair bit about. And then John being a child of kind of the 80s cinema, as the film kind of progresses out of that, we looked at more of your kind of Spielberg and your James Cameron, and for sort of our end sequences, kind of the arcs of Alien 2 and things like that. So it was nice to have, a really wide range of influences to draw upon. And I think, the special part about the Moogai is that it doesn't really fit in any one box, like from a genre or sort of tonal perspective. So it was nice kind of, using the right brush for the right moment in the script and letting it kind of evolve, yeah, with the story.
What was reception like at the premiere?
It was quite special. And it was really nice to get together with the cast again, who I hadn't seen in some time. Um, there was one article, ahead of its release that, said the film had potential to be an Australian Get Out.
Wow,
And in the sense that, John had always intended for there to be some lighter moments throughout the film to help release that kind of tension.
sure.
And it was really nice to see those laughs kind of landing, as well as, the emotional kind of heart of the film, touching a lot of the audience, and, hearing those quiet little sobs throughout the theater, and hearing too, there was some other um Indigenous people from around the world in the theater that night, and to hear kind of their response to the film, um and its sort of metaphors was really touching. And yeah, it was a project that I'm, really proud to be a part of, and hopefully one that, shares a bit of Australia's, darker history, but also, is a story that First Nations people, around the world may be able to relate to as well.
Wonderful. Well, um, I'm so glad to be able to talk to you and talk to you about the Moogai, the look of it, everything like that. And congratulations on your premiere at Sundance, and best of luck on wherever this project ends up and, takes you. So,
Yeah, no,
congrats.
thanks, Norman. Yeah, we're very excited to see, where things go from here, and yeah, hopefully in cinemas in the not too distant future.
Excellent. All right. Well, best of luck. And you guys keep an eye out for the Moogai. Sean Ryan, absolute pleasure.
Cheers. Thanks, Norman.